What's special about this place is that all of a sudden you come upon this little wetland that is so diverse. You wouldn't think that something like that could survive in this industrial area. What you see here is what you would have seen back in the day before the urban civilization took over. It does look like a drainage ditch, but it's more than just a runoff. It's a seep-fed, viable habitat. And this little marshland was basically saved through the efforts of a handful of people.
You need to go under here like this. See how I'm doing that?
Okay.
And kind of rocking it. What this site is it represents something that has basically disappeared in most of the Bay Area. There is a dragonfly nymph, and that's one of our main mosquito abaters in here, all the dragonfly nymphs that are in here. The dragonfly is one of the only insects that eats mosquitoes on the wing. Almost a full assemblage of all the plants that belong up on the mountain are down here. All the seeds, all the plants at some point would wash down into the bottom of this, and this is like a sink down here. Everything collects down here, all this variety. This is the tule that the local Indians used to make the canoes out of. You can make the entire boat with just tule. You can make a tule rope out of this. It's very strong. It's also edible. It's a really great plant. I love this plant.
2.5 years ago when I got involved with this project, there were bags of garbage and so much vegetation that the water was anaerobic. Once you remove all the invasives, the natives that once inhabited that area come back naturally. To actually watch this area be transformed from mosquitoes and mosquito larvae to dragonflies and damselflies and frogs and water striders and the whole aquatic set that's here was amazing.
Some of these plants here, they take up all the space, like one of these guys, okay, which is a non-native lotus. And we want the native lotus to take its place where it used to be. So, if you take all of it out at once, then there's nothing for the frogs to hide in or feed from. It's about getting nature to do the job piece by piece by piece. I was born in Brisbane, and I used to come over here when I was a kid. This was a lake where that building is now. It was a seasonal lake. We used to crawl through the grass, go over the railroad track, and watch the garter snakes and the frogs and the dragonflies. It is still here. It's just drastically reduced. It's the remnant of an enormous population.
The morning that I would say the Wetlands began as a project, Linda had taken her grandson down to look at frogs and found workmen weed whipping the area down to dirt.
There's a whole crew, and I just yelled at them, "Stop!" And they all stopped. They had trashed already half of this strip here by the building.
We got there about the same time as the city engineer, Randy Bro, got there. He was very upset and telling everybody to leave, that they were interfering with city business and that he had called the police. So it was an exciting time, but it ended with us being able to talk to Randy and agreeing to postpone any more weed whipping and then see if something else could be worked out. And so we agreed to be responsible towards a partnership. Brisbane has kind of an identity as an environmentally sensitive city, and someday that will attract businesses. That's what I'd like to think.
This area is on city property, private property. Fortunately, the landowners were willing to accept some terms, and we were able to work on their property. It takes a great deal of cooperation to come together to proceed with maintaining these wetlands.
One of the elements that we do at this project is continuously manage the grasses for fire safety. You can actually just pull these oats off of here. It's really important when you're dealing with a frog habitat to have food that little frogs and adult frogs need to eat. The frogs are Pacific Chorus frogs, and this is the best and the largest breeding site in the whole Bay Area.
I love volunteering. According to my wife, there's other things I should be doing, but this is what I want to be doing. It gives me great pleasure and satisfaction to know that what it is I'm involved in is something bigger than myself. Right now, this site is being managed by volunteers. Without their efforts and their involvement, this site would be like it was when they found it. And so our effort is to fund the management of this property. And having an actual funding source to manage this would cement our efforts here.
Really, the water is it. And the mountain starts with the health of the foot of the mountain. So our goal is to take care of the whole mountain, and we see expanding the wetlands in the industrial park, making more of the industrial park green and bringing back wildlife that's gone.
We want to be taking care of this property. We want to always, in perpetuity, have this opportunity to be involved in it.
Some things are just beautiful and they're worth having around just because they're beautiful, you know. Makes the world prettier and nicer.